that we need a DA that work with all local agencies. And if you look at my website, again, I don't go after endorsement from the police chief and the police union, because again, I'm an outsider. I'm here to clean up the house. I'm here basically to reform and change. They're not gonna put the person who's gonna go in there and do that, because the system is broken in Orange County. It's broken, corrupted throughout the county.
Yes.
And this journey, I have to say that I never thought I would, but I actually received current and past inmates writing to me and asking, could you please come in and help us? We need a change. So how many people were thinking like, wow, someone who's actually incarcerated before or currently are writing to me and ask us to please, we want you to be sheriff for the change. And I'm going to talk a little bit about the corruptions. You know, this county for so long has taken all the corruption and put it under the rug from the sheriff department. You got management are not holding accountability to their actions. You got management are defrauding the county. You got officers are abusive, excessive of power. You got all of this scandals who the DA again are not filing cases on these officers or the management people. You got management who offer a deal of retirement. You got deputies who again mistreat inmates, and not only mistreat inmates, but also mistreat our citizens out there at patrol. I have letters from all citizens throughout the county writing to me. So we know the scandal is out there. My question when I got on to this campaign, and I, being for 26 years, working in LA County, why aren't these coming out? Why aren't our citizens being aware of the situation going on in the sheriff department? Why aren't the police chief acknowledged and taking control of their own cities? So when I took on this challenge, and I want to thank you for your support back in the primary, I talked about reform in my department. And one of the things that I wanted on my reform agenda is body camera. I will fight hard to put that body camera on there. I don't care if you work in the street or you work in custody, you're gonna have body camera. Part of the infrastructure also is going at every county jails and look at every corner and putting camera in every hallway. There's no hidden corner that is gonna be, block or shelter or shield away. I talked about revising the policy and procedure, especially using about the snitch scandal. In LA County, when we have a snitch scandal program, we write the proposal and it's submitted to the judge. And we seal that, the judge seal that. We just don't go out and do it by ourselves. It has to be acknowledged from the VA, and the judge has to acknowledge that this is the program, that this is the ongoing case. So it is sealed. And that's how it should be operate when you do a snitch scandal like this. I talk about realignment with our management.
When you do a snitch scandal.
I've been up and down the state after the primary, and I talked to other agencies how to implement mental health training for our county. Okay. I talked about homeless issues. How do we bring our homeless into a shelter? Because our homeless need to get off the street. Yeah. Because if you don't get them off the street and get them into a mental health institution for treatment, you're going to have an excessive use of force. Okay. You got officers and deputies who are wearing uniform. The first thing they're going to see is they're going to be more aggressive. We don't want that. We want de-escalations. Okay. And training and body cam will tell me what direction to go and how to adopt and adjust to our society. And that's also about community partnership I talked about. Community partnership is working with our citizens, working with our public. South County, North County, Central County, it's going out there and reach out, and how do we, as law enforcement, better serve our community? Remember, like I said, law enforcement is customer service.
That's right.
That's what we are. You call, we came out, how do we help? We don't fix plumber, but we fix problem in terms of the criminal elements out there. How do we guide people? Okay. So I know my time is limited. I want to thank you very much. Please read on to the paper. Please do your research about the DA. Two of the most important race in this county that's going to change the history of this county is the DA and the sheriff.
That's right.
Questions for Duke? Please, Brian.
Hi, my name is Brian King.
Hi, Brian.
I'm going to say, currently the Orange County Sheriff's Department uses a form letter. So if you file a complaint, I mean, it could be anything from the officer, was driving too fast to the officer shot somebody. And it's a form letter. And they wait a year to balance out the statute of limitations to basically try and get the person to go away. Will you address that form letter, and will you change that so that the responses actually take into account the complaint and the issues brought up
So
in the...
I talked about being transparency.
Yes.
It's going to be online because it's going to be date and stamp. And there's going to be an office who take care of our complaint response.
Okay, because it does need to be addressed, and
It
that's
does,
for the sheriff
because
as well.
I get the same, what you're asking in custody, and it's once an inmate who filled in a complaint, and it seemed to disappear or was lost. How could you lost a complaint form?
I have a 10-page audit of the jail and the mental health I'd like to give to you, not for after, but email. If I can meet with you after.
Yes.
That's great, Duke. We have that in some of our cities as well, the online thing.
Right.
And it works really well. Right.
Years ago, our ex-sheriff, Corona, ended up going to jail years ago. Then we got a new sheriff that came from LA and she's basically doing the same thing. I'm surprised she's not in jail either. So finally,
I'm glad you said it, not me.
I said it, freedom of speech. Also, finally, we have a good candidate, and I hope you win. And I hope you give some dignity to that office, so people can respect that office. That's one.
I can tell you, I did a 4-year research and then 18 months looking at this. I can tell you, just on the surface, there are so many changes have to be made. It has to be made, because if it doesn't make, if the changes doesn't make, I shouldn't be there. It's no good for me. I might well just let my opponent win, and then the federal FBI is going to come in, and then our county is going to be flipping upside down, because all that million of dollars is going to, our tax dollars could be spent on our school or road, is going to be wasteful on the sheriff department.
Alan.
Last month, the Daily Pilot and the OC Weekly reported that over 1,000 attorney-client communications, phone calls, were recorded by the Sheriff's Department. If elected, would you pledge to disclose that list of phone calls that were recorded, so that defense attorneys who represent the people of this county, so that the public could be informed, so people will understand the extent of the problem that we have in this county?
Great questions. So I work
over 1,000, and
1,700 to be exact.
So now the number is even higher. He knows more than
1,700.
I do on the issue, because we're just learning about it. And of those 1,000, the newspapers who actually obtained documentation, not the defense bar, we've learned that approximately somewhere in the range of 50 to 80 of those calls were actually accessed and listened to.
85.
For what purpose? There's only one purpose: to learn what the attorneys are discussing with their clients. These are clear constitutional violations that go to the heart of the attorney-client relationship and the attorney's ability. So I'm just glad to hear that you are on the side of transparency and disclosure, because the day that is allowed to continue, the process crumbles, as you know. Thank you.
Great questions. I've been working in custody 4 years in the gang modules. I deal with all these, and on the street, and now detective. Again, the Orange County DA and the Orange County Sheriff don't play the rule of the Constitution. They play their own rules. That time is over in about 38 days, 39 days. I'm hoping.
A sheriff, just educate me, what are your jurisdiction, or where are your guidelines?
The whole county, sir.
Orange County?
The whole county.
Alley County?
No, the whole Orange County.
Okay.
So, going back to that, the recording, okay, has to come from court order in my office, because that's telling me that you want to record something, and that have to come in a review board on my department and say, no, we're not doing this. But if it's signed by a judge, then that's a judge court order. And I want to make sure that is given to my office. At the same time, like I said, the number one thing that we learn in attorney, assuming that you're an attorney, is discovery. Correct? It's discovery. So you have, if you record it, you have to, part of that is in the discovery stage of the trial. The Orange County Sheriff Department, I have to say, is not negligent, but they know this company background because the company has have done this before through another agency in the East Coast.
Right.
So it is not negligent, but is failure in their management to oversee. So they put the blame on the company. It shouldn't be. It's your house.
Correct.
You run the department, not the company. So you should have better control of who's coming in and who are you contracting with. So yes, transparency.
And your opponent is part of that management right now.
You're absolutely right. I mean, in fact, today is Wednesday. We're on air. We're on air on debate Friday, this Friday at 10:30.
You got my vote. Where do I get your yard signs?
At 89.3 K's.
KPCC.
KPCC.
All right, so 89.3 KPCC this Friday at
It's
what
Friday,
time?
10:30.
And you're debating on there with
Don and I will be on radio.
with Don. All right, very good. So Don, thank you so much for visiting us. Again, the other candidate.